I was watching the sunrise this morning through my kitchen window, just taking in those first quiet moments with my coffee, and it reminded me how important these peaceful starts can be.
There's something special about those early morning moments, isn't there? When the world's still waking up.
Exactly, and that's what we want to create here on Blue Mountain Morning, that same sense of calm as we ease into Friday, January 10th.
Good morning, listeners. We've got some important updates to share today. The latest on the California wildfires and a pretty significant Supreme Court case involving TikTok.
But as always, we'll break it down in a way that helps you start your day with clarity and purpose, just like that first cup of morning coffee.
Let's dive into today's headlines. The situation with the California wildfires is showing some promising developments. The latest reports indicate that wind speeds are finally dropping, which is giving firefighters that crucial window they've been waiting for.
That's such welcome news, and I understand we're getting some additional support from out of state.
Yeah, that's right. Firefighting reinforcements have been arriving from neighboring states, and they're bringing in more water resources too. It's one of those moments where you really see the whole country coming together.
And speaking of national stories, there's this huge development with TikTok today. The Supreme Court is actually hearing arguments about it, right?
Absolutely. This is a pretty significant moment for social media in America. The Supreme Court's going to be weighing in on TikTok's future, and it's really about finding that balance between free speech and national security concerns.
And this affects what, like 150 million American users?
Yeah, that's the scale we're talking about. And it's not just about entertainment anymore. We're seeing small businesses, creators, even educators who've built their livelihoods around this platform. The court's decision could really reshape how social media operates in the U.S.
And the timing of this is pretty interesting, especially with all the election-related content we're seeing on these platforms.
That's actually a crucial point. The court's decision could have huge implications for how information flows during future elections. It's really about who gets to control these digital spaces that have become such a big part of our daily lives. I've been thinking about these California wildfires from another angle, specifically what they mean for the state's brand new insurance regulations.
Oh, right. California just overhauled their insurance rules at the end of last year, didn't they?
Exactly. And now we're seeing the first real test of that system. The timing is, it's pretty intense. We're looking at tens of billions in potential damage, and it's going to put enormous pressure on these new regulations right out of the gate.
What exactly changed with these new rules?
So the big shift was making insurance companies look at future risk differently. Like, if a homeowner takes steps to protect their property, clearing brush, installing fire-resistant roofing, the insurance companies now have to take that into account when setting rates.
That actually makes a lot of sense, rewarding people for being proactive.
Yeah, but here's where it gets complicated. The insurance companies are already pretty nervous about covering homes in these high-risk areas, and now with these fires, it's really going to test whether these new rules can actually keep the market stable.
I've heard some people are struggling to find coverage at all.
That's right, and it's creating this ripple effect where property values are getting hit, which affects local tax bases, which impacts emergency services. It's this whole interconnected system.
And I imagine this isn't just a California problem anymore, right? Like, other states must be watching this pretty closely.
Oh, absolutely. States like Oregon, Washington, even Colorado, they're all taking notes. Because what we're seeing in California could really become the blueprint for how we handle insurance in a world where these extreme weather events are becoming more common.
You know what really strikes me about these California wildfires? It's seeing how communities are coming together in ways that, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? I was just reading about this neighborhood in LA where people have created this impromptu support network. They're sharing resources, checking on elderly residents, even setting up emergency text chains.
That's exactly the kind of community spirit that makes such a difference during these crises.
And you know what's really cool? Local businesses are stepping up too. There's this coffee shop that's become this unofficial command center, staying open 24/7 to provide free coffee to firefighters and displaced residents.
That's amazing. But it also makes me think, maybe we should share some practical tips for our listeners about emergency preparedness.
Absolutely. First thing, everyone needs an emergency go bag, like right now. I'm talking about basic supplies for 72 hours, water, non-perishable food, medications, important documents.
And don't forget about your pets. They need their own supplies too.
Good point. And here is something people often overlook. Take photos of every room in your house and all important documents. Store them in the cloud. It's absolutely crucial for insurance claims.
You know what else really helps? Having a neighborhood phone tree or group chat. During emergencies, local information can be absolutely vital.
Yeah, and honestly, just knowing your neighbors' names and having their contact info, it seems so simple, but it can make such a huge difference when things get rough.
And maybe the most important tip: don't wait for an emergency to put these things in place. Do it now while everything's calm.
You know, watching these wildfires, I'm reminded of something pretty amazing about nature. In California's forests, there are these incredible trees, the giant sequoias, that actually need fire to survive.
Wait, they need fire? That sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The heat from the fires helps their seeds release and clear the forest floor, making way for new growth. It's like nature's built-in reset button.
There's something really powerful in that image. Like, even in what looks like total destruction, there's this seed of renewal.
Exactly. And you know what? Communities are kind of like that too. Sometimes it's during our most challenging moments that we find our strength to grow and rebuild.
I'm thinking about all those neighborhoods we talked about earlier. They might be facing tough times now, but they're planting their own seeds of recovery.
They really are. And maybe that's something we can all take with us today. This understanding that even in our darkest moments, we carry the capacity for renewal.
Just like those sequoia seeds, waiting for their moment to sprout.
And sometimes we just need to trust in that cycle of renewal, even when we can't see it happening yet.
And that brings us to the end of another Blue Mountain morning. You know, Mark, I love how we can take these big, sometimes overwhelming stories and find those little moments of meaning in them.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Finding those quiet spaces to reflect, even in the middle of all the noise.
Absolutely. And hey, to all of you out there starting your day with us, thanks for being part of our morning coffee chat.
We'll be back tomorrow with more stories and insights to help you start your day with clarity and calm. Until then, remember to take those small moments for yourself.
This has been Blue Mountain Morning. Have a peaceful day, everyone.